Keevie. Welcome back to my channel. I am so happy to be back and filming. If you guys follow me on like Twitter and Instagram and stuff like that, then you know that my charger for my MacBook broke, so I wasn't able to edit videos. My sister kept offering for me to use her laptop, but I'm not really familiar with like Windows Movie Maker because I never really had to work with it. So just was like, oh well, I'll just wait till I get my charger from my computer to start back making videos. I did put up a 90s lookbook that she edited on her computer because it was a collab with her, and a lot of you guys were asking me questions about the music and stuff like that in the video, and she did like all of the editing, all of the music and everything like that. So I'll just tell her to go and answer those questions because I honestly don't know. Yes, I probably will be uploading a ton of new videos this week because I have nothing else, and I think that's why I was like, I'm so excited to be back filming, because in the past when I would stop filming it would be because of school or because I was doing something else, but I've never really stopped filming because and not have anything else to do. Like, I was literally bored out of my mind. So I am so happy to be back filming, and I thought that I would just come back and do kind of a talking informative video. So the video I decided to make today is a video on my favorite setting powders. And when I say setting powders, I mean powders to set my foundation or my concealers with. And a lot of times people have questions about their foundation coming off on their skin, and a lot of people have questions. They have oily skin, so how do they keep their foundation on their skin? And the key to that is using powder. I'm going to do a separate video on like finding the right shade of foundation and just the different types of foundations and all of that, but for right now I'm just going to talk about the powders. And if you have oily skin, then you definitely need to set your foundation so it won't come off. So I'm going to just talk about, let's see, 1 2 3 4 5 6. I have 6 that I want to talk about, and just mainly the ones that I use to set my concealer and my foundation with, and I will tell you guys which one I do which with. So yeah, the first one is MAC Studio Fix powder, and I'm not really sure because if it still looks like this, because MAC did change its packaging for a lot of their items, so I'm not sure if they changed the packaging for this one yet. I know the Mineralized Skin Finishes, they did change their packaging, but this is what mine looks like, and it's in the color NC45. For those of you guys that like ask me what color I am in MAC, I'm in NC45. And this is the Studio Fix powder. This is the powder with the foundation in it, and you can wear this foundation, well, this powder as a foundation. You don't have to wear a liquid foundation with this one. You can just put on concealer and go about your day. It is a very full, well, it's not really full coverage, I would say medium to full coverage foundation. Well, at least for me. I know a lot of people that have like a lot of blemishes or acne scarring or just can still see through their powder. They will just put liquid foundation under it and then put this on top of it. But for me, I can do both. I have done both, and I probably will continue to do both. Right now I feel like it's a little too hot to wear with liquid foundation, because for me, I use a lot of full coverage to medium coverage foundations, and the only time I will pair this with a foundation, is a liquid foundation, is if it's a light coverage foundation. So but it is a really heavy powder, and its formula is really thick, and I just love this powder. And like I said, it has foundation in it, and yeah, so you don't have to wear it with a foundation if you don't want to. So this is the powder here. Yeah, next is the Nye Banana Luxury powder, and I absolutely love this powder. I literally use this powder every time I wear makeup. Every time. I use it to set my under eye concealer. I know a lot of people would take a sponge and just set it on their eye and leave it on to kind of soak into the skin and give it that glow or brightness that they're going for. But for me, I would just take a contouring brush, well, from Real Technique, that's the brush that I use to put my powder on, and I'll just blend it in the areas where I put my concealer, because it still gives it the brightening effect, but it's just not as bright if I'm setting it with a sponge. So I do love this powder, and it doesn't crease under my eyes or anything like that. I know a lot of people say that they don't really like this powder because it does crease on them and they can't use it because it's too yellow for them or such and such. They do have a wide range of colors for this. They have colors for darker skin tones, they have colors for lighter skin tones, and it's the same powder. So if you're like, if you feel like banana is too yellow for you, if you feel like banana is not really a good setting powder for you, then you can go darker or lighter. And the downside to this powder is you can't just go to the store and get it unless you live in like LA or maybe New York. I'm not really sure if they sell it in New York, so I can't speak on that. But I know that they sell this in the LA. I actually ordered it from somewhere in Beverly Hills, and they had like a ton of them. I'm gonna link the seller where I got it from below in case you guys are interested in it. That's the only like downside to it, that you do have to get it offline if you don't really live in areas that sell it. But other than that, I love it to set my under eye concealer. It doesn't crease. I don't necessarily use it to set my powder, and the reason why is just that sometimes it can be a little too light for me. But I have done it before, and maybe in like the winter time and fall I've done it. That's kind of when I've done it, in the winter and fall, and got away with it. But as far as right now, it's a little too bright for me to set my entire face with. But I do love it, and I have it on today, and I wear it like all the time. And another thing about it is that it does look, this is I believe the smallest size, and it's 1.5 ounces. They do have on eBay where you can order like these smaller ones that's like really small. You can order like, it's, I believe it's like someone bought like something like this and then poured it into like a small container, and then they're selling it individually like that. At least that's what I think. But they do have like bigger packaging. Recommend getting one. I would recommend getting the bigger one, because with the bigger one you can stick your brush in it, or you can stick the sponge in it and like that. But with this one, because the top is so small, you can get your brush in there, but it's gonna get everywhere. Yeah, and that's the only like downside to it, is that it's very messy. Well, one of the downsides to it. But other than that, I love it, and I think it is an amazing setting powder. I guess I'll stick with what I have on my face. See, I have the yellow powder everywhere. But this next one is Revlon Nearly Naked Pressed Powder, and it just looks like this. It's in the color medium deep, and as you can see, I did hit pan on it. I use this powder like crazy, and for me, I look for powders that I don't really have to touch up with. And I do have combination to oily skin. A lot of times my forehead, my T-zone, my nose, and all of that will get oily throughout the day, and if I use certain powders, I would have to touch it up throughout the day. But with this powder, I do not have to touch it up throughout the day, and I think that's why I've been reaching for it so much lately, because I don't have to touch it up. And I use this to set my face, entire face. I don't use it to set under my eyes or anything like that. I just use it for my foundation, and simple reason that I do not have to touch it up throughout the day. So I love it. I think it's amazing for that purpose. That's the one that I am wearing today. Next is the Rimmel Stay Matte powder, and this one is in transparent. This is a good powder. I like it because it is a translucent powder, so any skin tone can use it, and I like it to set my entire face with it. And what I would do is, if I'm wearing a concealer that's the same color as my skin tone, I'm not going for really like a brightening effect or anything like that. I kind of want like a, not really a flat face that day, but not a brightening under eye, just a normal look. I would use this to set my entire face, and it just makes everything look put together, and it doesn't really make one thing stand out or the other. It's just everything is put together, everything stays. But with this one, I do find that I have to touch it up throughout the day, and that's probably the only thing that I don't like about it. But it's fine because it is a kind of small compact, so you can just take a little brush and or a pad thingy and just touch it up throughout the day. But I do have to touch it up throughout the day, so that's like the only downside. But the price is amazing. It's about $4 in Walmart and Target and places like that, So if you're a beginner and you're looking for a good setting powder, it's good to set under eye concealers, it's good to set your foundation. Whatever you want to set with it, it's amazing for it and it's cheap. So hey, if you're a beginner and you're looking for a powder, go get this one, okay? Alright, we have 2 more. I'm almost done, I promise. So next is Maybelline Fit Me Pressed Powder, and this one is in the color Caramel. A lot of people recommend this powder to set your under eye concealer, and when I purchased it, that's kind of what I had in mind to use it for. But I ended up liking it better to set my entire face with. I do wear it if I'm going for like a natural look, no brightening concealer, anything like that. Or I will use it to just set the rest of my face makeup. I don't necessarily use it to just set my under eye concealer, because I found that it can crease a little, which is not, it doesn't like crease to where it's unbearable and it's like noticeable or anything like that. But like, I'm like weird and I look at my face like all the time, which is not a good thing. But I've noticed that it has creased on me before, and it wasn't my concealer, it was the powder that creased under my eyes. So I would normally just use this to set my foundation, not really under my eye. So, but I do love it. I do think that if you just wear foundation and that's all you wear, then I recommend using this one and just brushing it across your face, because you don't really have to touch it up. And I know I keep saying that I don't have to touch up powders, and even in the summertime when you start to sweat and things like that, you don't really have to reach for your powders that much, because you're not like oiling and the foundation is not coming off your face. So yeah, but I do like it and I think it is a good powder. Alright, and then the last one is Airspun Loose Face Powder, and this one is in the color Translucent Extra Coverage. Now, funny story about this one is that when I bought it because I saw Dulce Candy using it and she was talking about how good it was. So I went out and I got it, and when I opened it, I was like, this smells familiar. So I let Tiosha smell it, and when I let Tiosha smell it, she said that this was the powder that Grandma used to use when we was little. So when I went to my grandma's house, I told my grandma about it, and she said that my mother, which is my great-great-grandmother, used to use this powder. And I just thought that it was cool how so many different generations of my family use the same powder, because it's the original formula and it's been around since 1935. So I just thought that was so cool how I came across this powder and so many different generations used it. But yeah. I love this powder. I think it's an amazing powder. I don't have to touch it up. I use it for basically everything. I use it to set my under eye concealer. I use it for all over my face. Or if you want to just like put powder here, you can use it for that too, because I mean, it smells so good. These smell like, if you're like someone who don't really like perfumey powders, then I don't recommend this one. But this powder smells so amazing. So if the smell is not going to bother you, go and get this because it smells so good. But it is a loose powder, so it looks like this. And normally how I would use it, I'll just take a little bit and knock it in the top like so, and then take a brush and then take the product out of here and put it on my face, or put it wherever I'm going to use it. This little white part right here does come off, but I don't want to take it off because I'm going to get powder everywhere. But yeah, and it does come with a little sponge. So if you don't really want to use a brush, you want to use a sponge, it does come with a really soft and nice sponge. It's an amazing powder. You don't have to touch it up. So that is it. So those are all of my like top 6 setting powders for your foundation and concealers. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to check out all of my social network links in the description box below. What are some of you guys' favorite setting powders? Leave them in the comment below because I would love to know. And if you tried out any of these powders, let me know your thoughts on them, because it's always good to hear what you guys think about products. So I hope you guys are having an amazing day or night, because it is like 10 something. So an amazing evening, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.